Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to Haymakers and Submissions, the podcast. My name is Dave Drew. I'm joined by my partner, Chops. Chops, how you doing? Up, you're on mute, buddy.
I do that all the time. I do it all the time just so you don't hear me during the intro in case it move, whatever, and then I forget. I'm good, man. I'm real good, and I ain't going to lie to you. Of course, we didn't set it up this way, but I hate that we're matching in color. I hate to dress like, seriously, you understand, even if my wife and I'll do it every now and again. If she gets dressed, I don't care if we're just going to it doesn't matter. If I come down or she comes down, and we're looking at it, and she's got on a white hoodie, and I got on a white hoodie, and she's got on, and we both have on blue sweats and a white. Somebody got to change. We do not just have to
couple Lions on it.
No, I'm Tar Heels Carolina blue today, brother.
Oh, okay, and this is from the Bobby Ross collection, circa 2000.
Back in the day,
mm-hmm.
You went throwback.
When young Drew was a marketing intern with the Lions, and I got some swag, as the kids.
Wow, So let me ask you. So you're in the facility. Did you see the players, Bobby? Did you see Ross and all those guys? How did that go? What is that like?
I was just game day, so I was in a shirt and tie to help escort a contestant out like at pregame or halftime to kick the field goal or to catch the jugs machine punt. Or
yes.
At the time we had what was called the Flying Lion. It was an inflatable lion, and he dropped envelopes, and you had a shopping cart.
Are you serious?
Yeah, from the now defunct Kmart, and if you caught it in the cart, you got that prize. Pretty cool stuff.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Matter of fact,
I didn't interact too much with the players. I gave Freddie Doc Scott a huge hug though. He was my favorite wide receiver when I was growing up, and Eric Hipple too. So when it was,
are you serious?
Oh yeah, I said, man, you guys are my favorites. Yeah, wow. I got to meet Lem Barney too, the great Lem Barney, Hall of Famer. He's a gentleman, and he's ill right now, but he's a great guy.
That's good stuff, man. That is good stuff.
So now we're going to talk a little boxing here, and we got something special for everybody here. We're talking about the Ultimate Fighter, but we're talking about the Ultimate Fighter via the Four Kings. So
absolutely,
the Four Kings: Roberto, Duran, Marvelous Marvin, Hagler, Tommy Hitman Hearns, and Sugar Ray Leonard. So we put together a list of criteria, if you will, of what we're looking at here. And we're talking about who had the best chin amongst these four: best jab, best cross, hook, best endurance, boxing IQ / toolbox, their footwork, uppercut, and speed. And this is just opinion based on what we saw and what we liked. And we're going to talk about it and hash it out a little bit.
Absolutely. That's good stuff, man. That is, yeah. You know, and I'm geeked about this. You know, I love my Four Kings. You know, that was boxing, man. I mean, I loved it.
And we did see a little bit of this near the end of the 80s with Leonard and Hagler a little bit. Although Leonard had a legitimate injury. He had a detached retina after that Hearns fight.
Yeah.
So that's when it got dragged out.
Knowing we were going to do this, I came across an article written some time ago, whatever have you. The new Four Kings: Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, and Shakur Stevens. Now, at one point, you might have been able to say these guys could be, before they actually get into the pros or when they're just starting out, maybe when they're all 2-0, 3-0, whatever have you, young guys. But once they got into double-digit fights or whatever have you, you knew these aren't the Kings. They're not. They are not the Kings. It's I hate to say this, it's blasphemous to even say that, to use Four Kings with those guys, knowing who the original Four Kings were. When I read this, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Here's the thing. We just talked about in the intro here, where I'm talking about Lem Barney. I never saw Lem Barney play, but I can Google search, and even back then, I could get out my Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever and look Lombardi was great. You got to respect greatness, even if you
Yeah.
didn't see it. Just because you weren't around to see it doesn't mean it didn't exist.
But see, here's the thing, though.
Mhm.
But see, when we were coming up, you didn't see him play, and there was nothing you could do. You might have saw a clip here or there, or what your the uncle's dad, pop, somebody told you about.
Yeah.
Now these younger generations. Oh, so you're saying Haney, Garcia, Shakur, these guys are the new Four Kings? Let me go back and look at the Four Kings. You have multiple outlets where you can see multiple fights against other guys themselves to see why they're the Four Kings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're talking about guys who won multiple belts in multiple divisions. These guys, not only these guys have even won belts in their own division yet. You know what I mean? So to me, when I tell you that was blasphemous, how dare man? I'm not even gonna say the author's name to give it even clout to say that. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
I've seen a couple people post something to that effect, like on Twitter and what have you, Twitter X, and it's like man, I mean, yeah, they're nice fighters, but that's another level, man. That's another level.
But see, here's the thing: you could have said that, hoping possibly, but see, as I said it before, the most dangerous word in the American language is potential, because those guys had the potential to be. I apologize. It was not Shakur Stevens. It was Teofimo Lopez. It was Ryan Garcia. Exactly. It was Ryan Garcia. It was Teofimo Lopez. It was Haney and Tank Davis. That's who it was. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because let's not forget, Big Dog, all these guys had made a name for themselves and done some things before they became the Four Kings. And when, you know what I'm saying? So they had already been in some wars, had already been Olympians, done whatever have you. And when they get in, they also had that mindset to be the man. You got to beat the man.
Yeah.
They didn't dance in him and Hall. There was no social media for Hagler to call out Hearns to call out Sugar. No, they didn't do any of that. Couldn't do any of that. You know what I mean? So it was, again, I hate these away. But I would, if you have anyone that would even mention those names with the true Four Kings, I'll guarantee you they're under 30, and they've never really studied the pugilistic arts at all. They have no idea what it's about. No idea. None.
And let me put it this way, just so people don't think we're just a couple of old heads here, right? I used to work. Remember the old Record Town stores back in the day at the mall?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to work there in college. So this is in the late 90s, right?
Okay.
Even then, we'd have singles on the wall, right? Top 40, top 10. Man, if the damn thing was out 90 days, people were like, that's stale. I'm like, what do you mean it's stale? I'm like, it's still on the radio 5 times a day, man.
And it's crazy because now you see cats bringing back haircuts, like in the high cut fade or velvet. It's like, we used to clown some cats that wore those, or we were rocking that way significantly before you guys were. What really kills me is when you hear like a nephew or a younger kid or whatever, younger generation boy or girl say, "Have you heard this song? Oh, I love this song." I know the original artist who did that song. What you're hearing now is a remake of a remake of a remake. You do get that, right? And it's funny how a lot of these younger kids don't realize it and don't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. They just don't get it. So, and one of them real quick years ago had a nephew, and they still haven't, but we were sitting there talking, and it was a song by Mariah Carey, an old dirty bastard. And he said, "Me and Mariah go back like babies." And I was like, "Oh man, that's old Tom Tom Club." Yeah. He was like, "What? No, that's from Mariah." And no. So I had to go get the Tom Tom Club, found it online. And I was like, "Listen, do you hear it?" Yeah. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You don't realize, fellas and people, very rare do any of these rappers come up with their own, own beats. Do they come? They're stealing music, you know what I mean, and sampling. So that's why I listen to LL Cool J's. He's got a thing on Sirius. I like salute the sample, and he tells you where it comes from, and I like, I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
That's cool stuff, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
Some music, there's some remakes I can appreciate, and in some cases, sometimes the remake is a better song than the original, in my view. But it's like when they remake movies.
Hate that. But there are some artists you just shouldn't touch. To me, you just should, like, Whitney Houston, don't touch her. There's certain ones you just don't touch. We're not going to get into that in the list because that's another show. But yeah, and I'm feeling you. But I would definitely take a remake of a song compared to a remake of a movie. You know what I mean? So, and to be honest with you, real quick, of course, I'm a hip hop R&B guy, but I do like some jazz, acid jazz, smooth jazz. But I do like when you take songs, or whether it's an R&B song and then a country cattle remake it. I do like that too. You know what I mean? So I like it. There's a couple of those songs, whether it was like Whitney Houston remaking Dolly Parton's "I Will Always Love You," or whether it was like the name was All for One. The name of the group was All for One, and I'll Be There. And that was like Michael Murray or something, or Michael Montgomery. He was a country guy, and I liked the different accents. I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling the R&B. I think the country version might have been a little better. You know what I mean? In different songs, different aspects like that. I like it.
So before we jump into our list, I'm gonna give you a homework assignment. Go download the song "Gin and Juice" by the group Fish.
What? Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Totally different. I wouldn't say I like it better, but I respect their
yes.
And
it's also funny, real quick, how you hear a song and it's like, okay, this artist did it, and then somebody else makes it, and you're like, I don't know if I like it more or not, but I respect it because the way they did it with almost the same beat, they went here and took the beat here and twisted a little bit. I would have never thought of that arrangement, but it's that's a talent that you still got to respect. You know what I mean? You still got to respect.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's talk about these four kings. First up, let's talk about who in your view, who had the best chin of the four kings, Chops.
Okay. Now, first off,
okay,
all of these, and I'm hoping we can get through them in an hour, because I'm telling you now, all of these, I had to ponder. I really had to ponder. I did. I went back on YouTube, watching fights here and there just to see whatever have you, because it was rough to me, man. It really was. Okay, now for the best chin, I got my list here. So when you see me look at the right, I'm looking to make sure I got it right.
Okay.
The best chin, I went with Hagler, hands down. And here's the reason. The sole reason was because he had never been knocked out. And some say not even truly ever, knocked down very few times, if he ever was even knocked down. And I think one was a slip. That you know what I mean? One was a slip. So never being knocked down with 60 fights or something like that. And he was in some wars. You have to go, to me, with Hagler as number one. But I did have Hearns as a close number two.
Really?
Yes. And here's the thing. It was rough between Hearns and Duran, because Duran would throw and Duran took a lot of punishment the same way. The only reason I went Hearns is because Hearns won belts in 5 different weight classes.
True.
And even stepping up in every weight class, he was still banging. So that was really, so I got Hagler, and then I had Hearns close. But I had Hearns, well, when I say close, it was Hearns over Duran, but that was close. Hagler was easy for me to pick on that.
Hagler was an easy choice for me for everything you said. And you talk about wars. Yeah, the fight against Hearns is epic. Absolutely epic. And he actually spent more time in the hospital than Hearns did.
Yes.
But he won the fight.
Yes. That cut was nasty. Like you got hit with an axe. It was nasty.
Terrible. But Detroit guy, Tommy Hearns, my guy. But he's fourth on my list in this one.
Wow.
Because I saw him get hurt. Leonard knocked him out. Hagler knocked him out. Barkley knocked him out. Leonard hurt him in the second fight more than a few times, even though he knocked Leonard down a couple of times in that fight. But Tommy, against most fighters, no issues. But against the best of the best, he was susceptible.
Yeah. Now Hagler, I'm feeling you, but him and Hagler was a war, and he got whatever have you. But yes, he got hurt by Sugar Ray. How many times did Sugar Ray drop him?
He dropped him in the first fight. He knocked him out.
Yeah. In the second one, he hurt him.
He did not knock him down in the second fight.
True. And I think
which was controversial.
Yes, that first fight when he knocked him out, I don't think he saw it coming. That punch that he didn't think coming. But you're right. And I thought about Hearns because he was always willing to. He could fight out. He could fight from distance, But if you want him in close, he'll bang with you. He never
yeah.
ran from a bang.
No.
But because he took so many shots, you're talking about Iran Barkley, one heavy puncher.
Yeah.
Then you got Hagler, Hall of Fame, and you got Sugar Ray, Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? So, but that's why I took Hearns. But okay, so we got Hagler as number one. Who's your number two?
Duran was number two because the only guy I really saw hurt him was Hearns, and I mean Hearns destroyed him.
Yeah.
Scary. Knocked him cold. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, he fought Leonard twice. The first Leonard fight was a war, and Leonard never really hurt him.
True.
It was a great boxing match, very close fight, but he never hurt him. He fought Hagler. He went the distance with Hagler.
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, and there's many other fights, but I liked him a lot. And actually, Leonard, other than at the end when he probably should have retired against like Terry Norris and Camacho, he probably shouldn't have been fighting at that point.
True.
And
I'll be honest, like I said, not a hill I'm willing to die on. I think more people would go with you and Duran as second over my Hearns as second. So I give you that. I'll give you that. I'm filling your list.
But I don't think it's even close that it's Hagler.
No, not. I mean, never being knocked down, you got to respect that, man. You have. I mean, come on. And in the wars that he was in, come on, brother.
I hear you.
That speaks for itself.
Well, let's talk about the jab. So that could be a different conversation. Let's talk about that. Who do you got there?
Okay, now here's my thing. I'm going for the jab, Sugar Ray.
Okay,
it was mainly because of the speed of it. He would pop that jab, and he was doing that jab to get you off your timing. He was throwing that jab to get you off your timing. Now, I liked Hagler's is a close second, but he threw it right. And to be honest with you, on this one, now I had Hagler and Hearns close for second because Hagler threw it with power where your boy Hearns could throw it from a further distance, but he brought it from down low. He'd have it here and he'd move and whatever low. So I went with Sugar Ray first, mainly because of speed, and he would use the jab. What it was, I'd hate to say that like I'm a know-it-all, but what it was almost intended for. Put it in your face so you don't see something else coming to throw you off your timing, to break up your rhythm. So that's why I went with Sugar Ray, but I went with Hagler's jab second because he never got outside of himself. He mastered jab, and it was powerful. It was powerful. You know what I mean? It was powerful.
Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. I picked Hearns in this one. And the reason
it's the number one.
It's the number one. And one of the reasons why is because it's a Kronk staple, the Kronk jab. It's not a rangefinder. It's not a timing mechanism. It is a punch that's delivered to inflict pain. Yeah. And it's a double.
It was stiff. Hearns was stiff.
Yeah. And he threw it. I mean, and what really impressed me about Hearns' jab, it was impressive at any of those weight classes like you talked about. When he was at welterweight, it was a jackhammer.
Yeah.
But I can understand the Leonard thing because Leonard, it was a very important piece in his repertoire. He relied on the jab significantly, and he was very effective with it.
And maybe as he got older and moved up in weight, because Hearns could get some real estate on you and still throw that jab. But that jab wasn't always landing. Now, when it landed, it was solid. But a lot of times he would throw it just to get up off me, back up. Where Leonard was throwing it as in his arsenal for throw off your time, whatever. And that's the only reason why I went Sugar Ray as number one, because he actually used it in to where Hearns, who I went second, Hagler used a second. He was throwing it with power, and he was throwing it to truly get in there to do damage. He wasn't trying to occupy your headspace or throw off your time, and he wanted you to know I'm coming. You know what I mean? But I like Sugar Ray's jab because he used it for what they say the jab is for. Throw off timing, put it in somebody's face, and throw something else.
Yeah, I like that. And Hagler and Duran obviously had good jabs, but
without question,
they were always more known for being inside and fighting in the phone booth and just being tough as nails. So it wasn't as much of a offensive weapon for them, in my view, as it was for Leonard and Hearns. Certainly, I just like Hearns' power is what was the deciding factor for me. But I like Leonard's, no doubt. Great jab.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about that cross, whether it's a right-hand cross or a left-hand cross. Depends on if you're Hagler or any of the other guys. But who do you have here?
Okay, now real quick, let's do this. We can do this differently. Let's say the right cross. Then in that list, do you have still the hooks is something different?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I only did a right cross. I only did a right cross because normally you hear right cross, you don't hear a left cross. But I did do both left hook and right hook. Okay. So I'm going to answer the cross with the right cross, and I'm using it as a right cross, but he almost used it as a chopping punch. I'm going Hearns. I'm going Tommy Hearns because he would put that jab out, and it was almost like he did it because that's what Emmanuel Stewart showed him in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really put it there, the jab out there to hurt you when he was throwing that chopping or overhand right, because he didn't want to push you away or make you move your head with that jab because he wanted to punish you with that overhand or that cross and that cross, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going Hearns far and away with the overhand with the cross right. I'm going Hearns. I got Hearns number one. I got Hearns. Now, I did have Duran. Is my number two. That was a lot because he threw everything with power. He threw everything, all his punches with bad intentions. Hands of stone.
Yeah.
That overhand right, that right cross is supposed to be your power. So I give him that out of the hands of stone. He threw everything as bunches and punches. You know what I mean? And punches and punches. So and with bad intent. So I went Hearns far and away because of that. I don't even, what do you want to call it? You want to call it a right cross? You want to call it the chopping? Because the way he came down on it, man, it was vicious. But I went Hearns number one, and then I went Duran two.
Yeah, I definitely had Hearns far and away on this one. And yeah, if you're a football player and you're called hands of stone, that's probably not a good thing. But if you're a boxer,
true that.
It means you've got some heavy hands, and that's why Duran absolutely there. You know, and Hagler was in that mix too. Although, and he obviously he's a southpaw. So Marvin Hagler was a southpaw. So I certainly considered that. And Leonard, I didn't discount Leonard because Leonard was sneaky tough and sneaky strong.
Yes, absolutely.
People always look at him like he was the finesse fighter. Well, of these guys, yeah, he was. But make no mistake, he knocked Tommy Hearns out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He had a war with Duran. I mean, this guy could throw. So, but yeah, Hearns, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, and then in that chopping motion, because Tommy's like 6'2". 6'1".
Yes, 6'2". They have him listed.
Yeah,
they have him listed 6'2".
So I mean,
that's coming. That thing is coming. He's bringing it. By the time it lands, it's coming with bad intentions. You can believe that. Absolutely. The crazy part is, man, real quick, as you talked about compared to the other kings, he was the finesse guy. But which I didn't realize until I started looking at this. He only had 39 fights.
Yeah.
Compared to the other guys, that's it's a very short resume compared to the other four kings, right? But of his 36 wins, he had 25 KOs.
Yeah.
That's not bad when you're considered a finesse fighter. You know what I'm saying? If you're considered a finesse fighter, you got 36 wins. If you can give me 12 to 15 KOs, okay, because you're considered, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he wasn't doing it. 25 is pretty good for a guy who's considered a finesse fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And think about, okay, so he, there was 11 fights he didn't get the KO, but that was one of those was Marvin Hagler.
Yes. Yeah.
And another two were Duran, who he split with. Actually, I'm sorry, he won 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
It's hard to count Uno Mas because that was like a glorified dancing contest there. But and he knocked out Tommy Hearns once and got a draw in the second one, which I have a problem with, but that's another show.
I got you.
So it's not like he was going the distance with guys he had no business going the distance with. He fought some tough
without question. And when I really truly started going back and looking at these and looking at numbers, he had 3 losses, Sugar Ray. And you mentioned it. Camacho and Norris, he shouldn't have been fighting. Yeah. He really should, you know what I'm saying? And those were 2 of his 3 losses. Mm-hmm. 2 of his 3 losses. I loved when he was there. Hector Camacho was a great dude. I loved Camacho. I love what he's doing, whatever have you. But seriously, if you take that fight 7-8 years earlier, he's not in Sugar Ray. He's not in Sugar Ray's atmosphere. You know what I mean? Just skill set wise, not to me.
No, I hear you. Let's go to the hooks now. You see, so you broke it down by left and right, so that's cool. Let's start with the left hook.
Okay, left hook. Now, mine was because he threw it with such speed and precision. I went Sugar Ray. Because when he threw that jab and he decided to work the body, which he did, he was throwing a nice, nasty left hook. And it was always crisp. You know what I mean? And it's funny because he boxed a lot the way he communicates. Remember, he was always, as my aunt would say, who's a speech pathologist, you must enunciate your vowels, diction. And he was always articulate. You know what I mean? He never came across as the dumb fighter, you got punched in too much. So he fought the way he articulated his words. Everything was crisp. Everything was with a point. Everything was with a reason. And that's why I chose his left hook. That's why I like Sugar Ray's left hook, because again, he threw it with speed. He'd sit down on it. And it was always crisp, no wasted motion, tight elbow. I loved it. I loved his left hook. Now, for the power on it, he still kept a nice technique, but he also had power. He never was just winging it. I went with Hearns. I went with Tommy Hearns as my number 2 with, the left hook. We're left hook. I apologize. Yep. Left hook was Hagler. Okay. Hagler had a nasty left hook. Wasn't a whole lot of speed with it. He also kept it tight with the technique, but Hagler was my close number 2 for the left hook. The left hook, I had Hagler.
Got it. Yeah, I actually had Hagler at as my top left hook because he's south.
Okay.
I love your analogy of Leonard because that is very true. They actually all had nice left hooks.
Without question. Duran
often would throw it almost like lunging at his opponent. And it was nasty. He was just, he's a vicious fighter. Tommy threw a nice left hook. I liked Hagler's because it was coming from his dominant stance. And nasty stuff.
And honestly, as we're going through this, because they all had a nice jab, right cross, hook, whatever. So for lack of a better term, we're damn near splitting hairs. You know what I'm saying? And but it's cool that way. Mm-hmm. And this is why everybody loves boxing. You know what I mean? Because you can put 10 people in a room. Give me your top 10 greatest fighters, and all 10 may have the same guys, but they may have them listed different. Yeah. Or 7 guys may have the same. You never know. This is why I love boxing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So think about it. We're only talking about 4, and so far we've been through 3-4 categories, and we flip-flopped 2 or 3 of them already. You know what I mean? So this is why I love talking boxing. I love talking boxing. I love it.
You know it. How about that right hook?
Okay, right hook. Because he dug the body, he threw it with bad intentions. Wasn't a whole lot of form to it. Not like he sat down, not like he got proper rotation, not like he was, I don't know. Duran's right hook was nasty. Whether he landed it to the body or the head, if he landed to the body, he was shifting organs. If he landed it to the head, that's curtains. Game over. You can cancel Christmas. So with the right hook, because he threw it with such tenacity and viciousness, I go with Duran. On that one is where, because he could throw it and he put that whatever, that's where I had Hearns as second. Because Hearns' right to me was better than Hagler's right.
Yeah.
Hagler had a dominant left, as that was a dominant side, but I went Tommy Hearns with a better right. Now, Sugar Ray had a nice right hook. Yes, I give you that, and speed, precision as well. But Hearns was just Hearns. Whether if he did the overhand across the chop it to the head, that was one thing. But if he decided to sit down with that 6'2" frame, pop at the hip, that right hook was nasty. So I went with Hearns as my number 2 right hook, and Duran number 1.
I'm with you on Duran. I mean, vicious fighter.
Yeah,
nasty. Like you said, it wasn't necessarily a textbook punch, but it was a nasty and effective punch. And Duran was never afraid to take a punch to give a punch. And
not at all.
99% of the time, he was probably going to land a heavier punch. So he was going to go toe to toe with you.
Yeah, without question. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid to wherever you wanted to go, wherever you wanted to go. Even if you wanted to start out boxing, he could throw the jab to say whatever. But he knew, even my jab is pretty tough. At some point, I'm going to get inside. I'm going to eat this real estate up. So yeah, his right hook was nasty.
I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I mean, Tommy Hearns had a huge right hook, and like I said, the only reason I had him slightly above Hagler is because, again, dominant hand for Tommy versus Hagler. But although I like a lead hook better than a rear hook. I think it's a nice punch. It's a punch like Canelo Alvarez uses very effectively, a double left hook. He's an expert at it. That's an effective punch. So when you can land that, that's good stuff. But yeah, Duran definitely hands of stone, baby. But Hagler close second, and Hearns. Well, Hearns and Hagler right there, like 2A and 2B for me. And that's not to discredit Leonard, but those guys are just vicious punchers, especially their body.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about endurance?
Man, okay. Nere's the thing. I went Hagler 1, and that is strictly based off of just like Chin. He's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked down, really never been knocked out. Definitely never been knocked out. So I was thinking, because you realize a lot of guys will hit that wall. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they're not even hurt. They're just tired. So they take a shot and they just fall and they can't get back up. So on that aspect for endurance, that never happened to Hagler in 60-some, never happened to him. That's why I went Hagler endurance. And Hagler would always bring it. He was always there to go when it's time to go. So I went Hagler number 1 with endurance. Now, I know we talk about the no mas and he gave up. I went Duran number 2. But here's why. Duran always brought it. And as long as he could go, he was going. He was going to throw punches and punches and punches and punches. So because he is in Hagler, never got knocked down, that's why I went 1. Because from the opening, Duran fought almost all his fights like your boy Hagler and Hearns did. Right? All his fights were barn burners from the opening bell, basically. You know what I mean? So you have to have heart, you have to have endurance to fight like that. Hell, that's most likely why, and he said it, Sugar Ray wanted the rematch so fast with Duran because he knew Duran was going to go back home and party and be out of shape. You know what I mean? So he knew he wouldn't be able to have, and that's why Sugar Ray danced, dance, run, whatever you want to call it. But he knew he couldn't stand in the Lions Den for too long. Yeah. So that to me is why I went Hagler 1. When you're never knocked out, tired, come on, man. You've seen it where you've seen fighters, he just got tired. He ran out of gas. Mm-hmm. Never saw that with Hagler. And then, like I said, Duran, because he came, I know he had the Uno Mas, but he had a let's go. They rang the bell, so I'm about to unleash hell. So that's why those are my 1 and 2s. Who you got?
Yeah, it's exact. Hagler 1, no question. To me, it was Hagler is an easy pick here. Duran was to me an easy number 2. The number 3, I got Leonard. And Hearns had great endurance. Don't get me wrong, but when Tommy got tired, that's when he got caught.
Yeah. And his mechanics went out the window. Because even if you're tired, if you can still have good mechanics, keep your hands up, you can get through it, get some rest. But his hands dropped, whatever have you. Yeah, man, I got you.
It was hard to tell I'm sure Hagler was fatigued at points, but his body.
You could never really tell.
No.
You could never really tell. And the crazy part was, man, think about this. This is 6 in. We did jab, hooks, cross, whatever, 6 in. And this is the first one we've agreed on both.
Well, the chin, we did too.
We both had Hagler and Hearns. No, because I had Hearns as number.
You're right. You're right. Yep. You're right. This is the first one we were in last.
But see, again, this is why I love boxing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We might have 1 or the 2, but we have not been 2 for 2 on any until we get here to endurance.
Yeah, exactly. Another great point. Let's talk about boxing IQ, that toolbox. Who had the deepest toolbox? Who was the smartest fighter? Technically smartest fighter.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I'm going to go Hearns is number 1. And I know it shocked a lot of people. I know it shocks a lot of people because Sugar Ray was so precise. He was so precise, whatever have you. Because of this, I got to go back. I had to go back. I had to watch some fights, right?
Yeah.
And even at different weight classes, right? Hearns still had, now I admit, once he got tired, it was harder, but he had a lot more fights and he got older, he got heavier, whatever have you. But he was always trying to dance. He was always on that bike, backpedaling, whatever have you, maybe hands down. And he was good even at a lot of times now, again, it was more the Kings who were able to do it. But once he got tired, guys catching him, guys dropping him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So having said that, but other times he gets tired, and I've seen him tired in other fights, but he wasn't getting dropped. He wasn't, like that. So that's why I'm saying, you know what? He got tired in some of these fights, but until he was in the fights with the best of the best, the Mount Rushmore, hell, you're talking to 4 Kings. That's the Mount Rushmore, you know what I'm saying? Basically. Yeah. So having said that, that is where I'm like, you know what? I liked Hearns because of what he did. Now, and then I went Sugar Ray because Sugar Ray also, won belts and multiple, whatever have you. And Hearns, I defended hit my spot with him. Then with Hagler, he was coming. You knew what he was going to do with dominant hand, whatever have you. Hell, Hagler only stayed in the middleweight. I don't know, did he fight in any other weight class, or was he a lifetime career middleweight?
Career middleweight.
So that's all he knew. That he was always coming to one way. He was don't fix it if it ain't broke. That's what he was, right? So having said that, okay. So that's why I had him. And then number 2, I had Sugar Ray. And again, it couldn't go Duran because Duran was always going to be in your face. You and Duran were always going to fight in a phone booth, right? So that's who I had with those. Hearns number 1, and then Sugar Ray number 2.
Okay. I'm close with you, but I got Leonard number 1. And the main reason I have Leonard number 1 is because it seemed like, with the exception of the later fights like we've talked about that like Norris and Camacho, I really don't think he should have been in. But he had the game plan depending on the opponent. He fought. He fought. Now, what I did like too, when he fought Duran the first time, he said, "Okay, I'm going to beat you at your own game," and he went toe to toe with him, and that was a damn close fight. I mean,
yes, it was.
And then the second fight, he said, "Okay, I'm going to do it my way now," like you said. A lot of the reasons for that too. It was gamesmanship, but he frustrated the hell out of Duran. He made Duran quit. No mas. Okay, well there. Hagler, he fought Hagler perfectly. He used all of the aggression and the frustration that Hagler had against him, and he danced around. He did enough to score. He'd throw flurries that looked nice in front of the. And I'll be honest, I scored that fight recently. I've talked about this. I had it a draw when I scored it. When it happened, when I was 13, I had Leonard winning at 115-113. I've never had Hagler winning that fight. I just haven't. But and when he fought Hearns beautifully both times. I mean, he really did. He boxed, he banged, I loved his style. Now I agree with you on Tommy Hearns. He was a very good boxer, and for as big as he was and as strong as he was, he really had a body type, mind you, a smaller man, but he had a body type like Deontay Wilder, a longer, lankier guy who had great power. But man, he had a much deeper toolbox than Wilder ever will have.
Tommy Hearns?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But let's not forget, big dog, back then, it was a different mind. To be the man, you had to beat the man. Yep. There were no easy fights. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't pick tomato cans because everybody was coming to bring it. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. And if you'd have been one-dimensional, all I have is an overhand right. All I have is a left hook. Oh, I'm just waiting to land this one shot. No. Even Duran, if you don't think his toolbox was as deep as the other 3, he still had a nice jab. Mm-hmm. He was still going to work the body. He was still going to work the head. He was throwing punches in combinations. So if you look at Duran, and Duran was doing his own thing before he became one of the 4 Kings. You know what I mean? So, But if you look at Duran on the aspect of his toolbox hypothetically wasn't like the other guys or whatever, okay, I can get that. But you're going again, he's putting him on Mount Rushmore. But when you look at what Duran's toolbox was just on its own, I'm telling you right now, you take Duran in his prime, against any of the top guys right now, 140, 140, whatever have you, 135. Yep. What are you doing? Because think about this. As they say, as great as Tank was getting his love, right? Whatever have you. I'm trying to think. What does Tank do better than Duran?
That uppercut. That uppercut punch. But other than that, I would say Duran's got him. That'd been a great fight.
And I'm telling you what, I bet you if I ask 10 people, maybe it's 7-3, 6-4. I don't know if it'd be a clear 8-2, 9-1 that Davis had a better uppercut, because your boy had a nice uppercut, because everything he threw with bad intentions.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So I feel you on that, but yeah. So okay. So again, for the ring IQ in the toolbox, or toolbox, whatever have you, I went with Hearns and Sugar Ray.
Yep.
I went with Hearns and Sugar Ray.
I got Leonard and Hearns. Yep.
Okay.
Let's talk about that footwork. Who you got?
Okay. Now they both won belts, so when I say this is going to give it away flat out, they both won belts in 5 divisions. So you already know who I'm talking about. Okay. But I went with Sugar Ray over Hearns strictly because of this. Maybe because at 5'10", and he might have been closer to 5'9". I don't know, 5'8", because Hearns looked a legit 6'2", maybe 6'3", but Hearns looked it, okay? But at 6'2", 6'3", when you start moving like that, you sort of look a little awkward, because your height, you just look awkward as Hearns did. But Hearns was able to do damn near everything that Sugar Ray could do. Mm-hmm. He just didn't look as smooth doing it. He just didn't look as nice getting in and out of his changes. He just didn't look as fluid, sidestepping, pivoting, whatever have you, getting in and out of range. And then when you add the speed, the tightness of his punches, because when he's compact, as in Sugar Ray, he always looked just more neater, for lack of a better term. You can say that, right? He just looked more well put, more together than Hearns, who is lanky, sometimes gets tired, drops his hands, doesn't keep up the same. And a lot of times when he's moving, because his long strides, it almost appeared he was running. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes when he's trying to tie you up, his long arms are out there, would Sugar Ray say, would Muhammad Ali say he's the mummy? Just the way he was reaching, you know what I'm saying? It almost looked like the mummy. And so that it just didn't look as well, when Hearns is trying to grab, or Hearns is trying to lock up if he takes a good shot, where Sugar Ray said, oh, that was a good mind. That was nice. And here's the thing. Sean Porter had broken this down. I give him credit. Sean Porter had broken this down a while ago. Mm-hmm. He said there's one of the great things about ring IQ. He said every boxer has ring IQ. Every last one of us has ring IQ. He said why the guys get talked about it is because they can do it when it's live, when it counts. Because you can be in a fight and you can see what you need to do, but you can't snap it. You can't get it off. Mm-hmm. Where Sugar Ray could snap it, get it off. You know what I mean? Where sometimes Hagler just didn't look perfect. He just didn't look right doing it. So that's the narrow reason I gave it to Sugar Ray on footwork, just because he was smaller, more compact, and looked more crisp. You know what I mean? Just look more crisp. Real quick, I say it too. Remember, Michael Jordan was 6'6". They used to say he was the perfect height to win the slam dunk contest, because if you're 6'9", 7 foot, it doesn't look as good as you dunking, no matter what you do. Yeah. You know, but when Jordan, he's 6'6", so he gets up a little higher, looks whatever, he flies through the air a little better. And I think that's the same with Sugar Ray. Just because of your height and what you were dealing with, your stature, your footwork looked a little better than Hearns, to me. Mm-hmm. To me.
I think we found our second one we're in agreement on. I've got Leonard on the footwork. But I agree with you. Tommy had great footwork, no question. But to your point, Leonard looked.
Yes.
I mean, other than Ali, Leonard, I mean, they're almost synonymous with the way they boxed because of the footwork. And it really is a thing of beauty. It's an art form.
It is. So,
I had Duran third because over Hagler, only because I think Duran was in his prime was a quicker fighter. And
yeah. But okay, so let me ask you this. Quick is a great word to use. I'll give you that.
Mhm.
But I'm going to ask you two questions. All right. Answer this one first. Was he quicker, or knowing what you know about Hagler and the way he fought, was Hagler just more, this is my game plan. I'm determined. I don't care if I get you in the first round or the 12th round. I'm going to get you. And he as in Hagler was more deliberate. He was more deliberate in his approach and his plan. So is that maybe why he didn't waste punches? And you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, but it does make you think. It does.
It does.
It does make you think.
Methodical is the word that comes up.
Yes, absolutely.
Marvin Hagler was methodical. He was going to stalk you down. He's going to.
It's crazy to use the word cerebral, because you wouldn't think of a cerebral fighter with someone who would just come with aggression like Hagler did, but he was methodical, cerebral. He's always thinking to it. Now, that was one question. Second question is this. We both had Hagler lower on the footwork.
Mm-hmm.
But could you make an argument that great footwork plays into the aspect that you can go 60-some fights and never get knocked out? You're never in bad position. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all a symphony the way it works. It really is all a symphony. You know how it is. If your feet are too far wide, you don't get the power. If your toes facing the wrong way, you don't get, if you don't twist, you know what I mean? So it all plays into a symphony. And I've been thinking about that, man. And I still had Hagler. I still couldn't go over, with footwork, him and Sugar Ray and Hearns because of the ways I said. But because of that, I could see someone trying to make an argument for it. And some people walking away, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, and that's you can think of it that way, absolutely, and that makes sense. How I looked at it was that's more core strength and anchor.
Okay. I got you.
I'm in NFL draft mode in a little bit sometimes, and I always look at core strength and anchor and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that's when I was looking at footwork, mine was more like how fluid are they? Were they in position? Were they able to get out of trouble? Things like that. But yeah, you could, if you look at it from that perspective, that you could make an argument for that, no question about it. But that's what
I got you.
Talk about it.
Now, to be honest with you, hypothetically, if we'd have talked about this list before we actually did it, there's a good chance I might have had Hagler higher on footwork than Hearns, because you just said, if you're in trouble, how do you get out of it? Right? Where Sugar Ray could pivot, this, that, whatever have you, your footwork, and when you can block better, easier. Hearns didn't do that. Hearns just grabbed you. Hearns just grabbed you and let go. And maybe that was easier for him because he had the limbs. But also when you're doing that, you're locking up. That's burning that lactic acid because you're grabbing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I bet you, had we had talked about this, maybe it would have been different. Maybe that would have been different on footwork. You never know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's so fun to talk about, right?
Oh, without question.
Okay, let's go to that uppercut. We got a couple more categories left. Uppercut. Who had the nastiest uppercut of the four kings, in your view?
I honestly, I liked, for the speed and accuracy, Sugar Ray. For speed and accuracy, Sugar Ray. Okay, for speed and accuracy, I'm going Sugar Ray. But for just when it gets there, it's going to be nasty. I went with Duran. I went with Duran. And again, Sugar Ray's, because he's boom, 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 touching you here, touching you, doing this, whatever, and he throws it in there, and it's pinpoint. It's on a line. It's almost like if you had a copper tubing or something, he could throw it right up the chute and not hit anything, because that, you know what I mean? That's what it was. Yeah. Now, Duran's might have not been that way, to where it was perfect textbook, might not have kept the elbow close, might not have, got the proper torque, got the bend and whatever, but it was nasty. But because it was precision, because it was pretty, not the devastation it did, but because of the precision, the speed, and because it was pretty, I went with Sugar Ray over Duran.
I went back and forth in this. I had Hagler as my guy in this one, but I went with Duran. And I did switch it up, and I see your logic with Leonard, because in boxing, a lot of it's setting up. You can throw like that tap, double jab, tap, not, but then that cross comes over and it's just got a little more fury. But if it hits that point in the jaw, it doesn't have to be a sledgehammer.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
And that's why Leonard, like you said, Leonard could throw an uppercut up the copper tube and not hit the sides. I mean, yeah, he was a great technical boxer, one of the greatest of all time. So I loved his accuracy, but I loved Duran's ferocity and how he used it as such an offensive weapon. I really liked him there. I liked Leonard's technical skills with it. Hagler and Hearns they're right there too, because Tommy, it wasn't necessarily his go-to punch, but it was a nasty, effective punch inside, and they all would hurt you badly if they landed it. And that's
without question. Yep. Absolutely. So let me, and I'll be honest with you, man. You had me there, and I was there with Hagler. He wasn't far off, but here's what I did. Okay, remember we talked about hooks, and I had Hagler's left hook. It was nasty. It was nasty. But to me, Hagler's left hook was, or should I say, Duran's uppercut was better than Hagler's uppercut. When you went uppercut for uppercut,
yeah.
But it was because I thought when I looked at Hearns' left hook compared to his uppercut, I thought there was a drastic fall off. I don't want to say drastic, but Hagler's left hook was nasty. It was nasty. Oh, yeah. So his uppercut fell in comparison just because how nasty his left hook was.
Yeah.
Where when you had your boy Duran, his left hook and his uppercut, they were both nasty. You know what I'm saying? And to me, one was better than the other, but his uppercut wasn't leaps and bounds better than his hook. You know what I'm saying? Where to me, his, as in Hagler's, uppercut was leaps and bounds lower than Hagler's own left hook. So his uppercut suffered on that. Now, it might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. So again, that's why we have these discussions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear. Well, yeah. It's a great point, because if a guy's got a go-to punch, everything else is going to pale by comparison. It's just natural. That's how it is. For the most part. So no, I completely see the logic there, and that's why I ended up going with Duran, because he used it as more of a vicious closing weapon than a lot of the guys did, and that's how I saw it. Now, how about overall speed of fighter overall? Who do you like out of four kings?
Big Doug, and again, splitting hairs. Not because Hagler was fast too. They were all fast. But again, perception rules the world. And I'm going to go with the perception and how it looked, maybe because of size, whatever you want to say. I don't know. But I'm going to go Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray with the speed, with the speed. But when Hagler decided to throw, or excuse me, Hearns decided to throw, when Hearns was right there. Yeah. It just, he wasn't as neat. We'd been through this. He wasn't as neat. He wasn't as tight. He wasn't as compact as Sugar Ray. So it just looked a little more looping. It looked a little more cumbersome. It looked like it took a little bit longer to get there. So because of the way it looked and the way I perceived it, again, perception rules the world, I went with the perception of Sugar Ray being number one, and then Hearns with speed being number two.
I can see the logic there, definitely. I actually have Duran number one. And here's where I came from on this, because you mentioned it earlier. Hagler only fought at middleweight, which is fine. It's 160.
Yeah.
Everyone else on this, amongst four kings, they started at welterweight.
Yeah.
Their way up.
Yeah.
So when I look at a Duran and a Leonard and a Tommy Hearns at welterweight and super welterweight, wow. I mean, they're and throwing with bad intentions and hurting people. I mean,
yeah, man. Yeah.
So Hagler gets a knock for being methodical, but to your point, he was methodical, but he was not slow. He had speed. And Hearns had great speed too. I mean, that jab was no joke. I mean,
not at all.
He was quick. Leonard, again, it was so close between. I love Duran got at the edge on my list because of his aggressiveness.
Okay.
He was coming at you. Hagler come at you methodically. Duran charged you.
Yeah, and when Duran threw that jab, he was trying to bust that nose. He was trying to bust that nose open. Where Sugar Ray, when he threw it, like I said, put in your face, throw off your timing. If he touches you, welch that eye, great. But they both had different ideas in mind when they threw those jabs. So yeah, and it's crazy. Like I said, we went through all these, but how different our list was. We had a lot of the same guys. I had them 1, you had them 2, you had them 1, I had them 3, whatever have you. But it's crazy. And again, when you think about what could have and the conversations that we've had just on this, because of word you said, somebody said, whatever have you, that led to another question or something we had never thought about. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So we got about 5 minutes left in this show. Let's talk about another time. Oh, you got something else?
Yeah. Because this is one it just came to me. And I hope you can whatever, because I'm trying to go off the rip, right? Yeah. And we'll finish this because if we got another topic, we'd go past it real quick. What was the best combo? Whose combo was it? Now, whether you say like, to me, when you already touched on it because it's dominant side, when your boy Hagler would throw that left jab and then that left hook, that was nasty. That was nasty combo. Then you had Hearns, who would throw that left jab and then boom, throw that nasty chopping overhand, right? Yeah. You would have Duran, who could throw that mean jab that was intent to hurt. Then he'd come with the hook to the body that was intended to hurt. You know what I'm saying? And then you had Sugar Ray, who would throw the jab. He could throw the uppercut or whatever have you. So, and you might have liked a different combination from anybody else. But real quick, we can hear who are those guys, and I can go first if you want to think about it. But for me, it was Hagler. Mm-hmm. It was Hagler with that left jab and that nasty left hook, dominant side. And you knew it was coming. And maybe it looked so impressive because it was a southpaw. Southpaws are harder to defend. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But leading with that jab and then boom, coming with it, that was impressive to me. So that's why I really did. I went with Hagler as number one with the jab and then the nasty, nasty left hook. Then it was that. And I started off with the Hearns. And I don't care, even when he went up to light heavy, he was throwing that jab to put in your face. If he sticks you, great, because he's so far out. It was almost like fighting, like I said, that they started to get bigger at light heavy. Yeah. But even when he's down to welterweight, you know what I'm saying? He's throwing that jab, and it's almost like putting a boxing glove on the end of a telephone pole. So he's hitting you, and then boom, throwing that chopping over. That was nasty. That was a nasty, nasty combo. So that was mine. Hagler, and then
I would go with the Hearns jab cross combination just because I mean, like I said, growing up near Detroit, man, you saw so many highlights of that jab.
I got you.
Like damn. I mean, lethal. But I hear you. They all had a bread and butter combination. That's why they are the four kings. So I mean,
okay, real quick, we can get into this because just keep it on this because we can do an entire another show because we didn't even get into some other things we wanted to about the king. Okay, real quick. You don't have to go 1 through 4. If you want to go 1 through 4, that's fine. Who was your favorite? And if you have all three you want to name for, that's fine. Who was your favorite of the four kings and why? And if you have different reasons, then let me know.
For me, it was Tommy Hearns because that was
Detroit boy.
As a kid, 5-6 years old, man. Tommy Hearns was the man, and that's what you followed. Sugar Ray had the marquee value. You saw him everywhere on TV. 7-Up commercials, Olympics.
Yeah.
You knew, and great fighter. Hagler and Duran. I saw Hagler probably the least of the four. Just because at the time in the early 80s, right there, Duran, Leonard had their war going on in 80-81, and then Hearns was right there in 81. So Hagler wasn't fighting those guys until like the mid 80s, like 83 to 85, 87. So that was kind of where I came from there. That's why that was my order. But I loved all of them, respected all of them.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, the one I liked just overall was Sugar Ray, but that also had a lot to do with outside the ring because, like you said, he was articulate, well-spoken, dressed in a suit, always looked good. Now, I mean, the other guys wore suits, that's how they did back then, but he looked good. But when it was time to throw the leather, he was throwing leather. So I liked watching that. But my overall favorite, it was Hagler because Hagler's it's hard you got to be real dedicated to run when you're sleeping on 5,000 count silk sheets. You know what I mean? When he could say that. So the way he approached the fight game, how he came to bring it regardless, that was it. So, and I like Duran. He was going to go out on his shield. I did it. But it was Sugar Ray because outside the ring, he was the ultimate gentleman. And inside, when it came to fight, it was Hagler. It was Hagler. And actually, I met Hagler here down in Atlanta. I was doing a bouncing and bodyguard, and I ended up meeting him in a club. I wasn't even at this point. I wasn't even bouncing anymore. I was still a bouncer, so I wasn't even watching the club. Me and him were talking. I was going. It was lovely. Awesome. It was great, man. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. All hail the Kings, brother. All hail the Kings.
All hail the Kings. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button on this video, and don't forget to subscribe. We have content every week for you. He's Chops. I'm Drew. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HeySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.